Welcome to another episode of the CattleUSA Daily Podcast. Today, we are bringing back another episode for you guys where we are going to be talking about some common misconceptions within the cattle industry or anti-beef claims that we see that we see consumers or anti-beef organizations pushing to our consumer population and therefore to our producers as well, and how you guys as producers can not only come here and get a little bit of knowledge, but also sit here and be able to then share these facts and continue to bring a producer population that is then informed and then a consumer population that is informed, right? Because we, at the end of the day, want a consumer population that is informed on the facts. And it is our job as producers to understand these facts and be able to share them with these consumers as well. Because, I mean, if we don't understand the facts ourselves, how can we expect our consumers to? So we're going to dive right into it with claim number 1. Plant-based meat is more ethical and better for the planet. Here's the reality of it, guys. And I don't think I have to come on a beef cattle podcast and tell you that beef is better than fake meat, right? And I don't even like using the word fake meat. I want to use the word fake slodge because scientifically it's not meat, because it's just a chemistry set. I digress. There's no better way really for me to right now say anything other than fake meat. So I'm going to say fake meat. But no, I really don't want to say the word meat with that. But fake meat is marketed as a guilt-free, planet-friendly choice, but it's actually just a manufactured product with a manufactured message at the end of the day. So here are the facts on ultra-processed versus naturally raised. The Impossible Burger has 21 ingredients. The Beyond Meat has 18 ingredients. And both rely on lab-derived additives, industrial oils, and binders that mimic meat. Real beef? Last time I checked, it's 1 ingredient. It's not clean eating if it comes from a chemistry set. Sorry, but it's not. Like, how can you sit here and say that I am making a healthier choice for myself by eating a meat alternative when it's got way more ingredients and it's got all of those lab-derived additives, industrial oils, and binders in it that are not naturally occurring in our body, and our bodies don't know how to naturally process those. So it's not clean eating, and you can't change my mind any way, shape, or form. So let's go into a little bit more of the facts of this claim. Here's the planet truth. So going away from my soapbox of the differences between the two, here's the truth about the planet. Fake meat production uses extremely high energy inputs. It has long supply chains and requires CO2 intensive factories. A UC Davis study actually found that plant-based meat can emit similar levels of GHGs per serving as traditional beef, and in some cases more, depending on the ingredients that it is using. So they have no stance here to stand on, that they are being more ethical for the planet. At the end of the day, fake meat doesn't remove the cow, it just replaced it with a factory. Now, let's dive right into claim number 2. Raising cattle is inefficient and it wastes resources. We talked a little bit on this last week, but I want to bring it up again in a different context, because this is a claim that is saying that we are being inefficient with our resources at the end of the day. So this claim hinges on one assumption, and that is that cattle compete with humans for food and land. And that is completely false. Here are the facts of it. Cattle are upcycling, not competing. Cattle eat what we can't. They eat things like corn stalks, distiller grain, cottonseed hulls, native grasses. And at the end of the day, 90% plus of a beef animal's diet is inedible to humans. And okay, let's dive into the land use, right? Because we talked about what they're eating, but let's dive into where they're at. 2/3 of U.S. grazing land is non-arable, meaning you can't grow crops on it. So what else are we supposed to put there? Making cattle graze that land is the most optimal choice and actually the best use of our resources. We can't just remove cattle, and that would actually become extremely unproductive for that land. And then we would have massive issues with overforestation or all of the other things that would happen if we weren't taking care of that land and cattle weren't grazing it how it was naturally supposed to be grazed. Cattle make use of marginal land that otherwise would pretty well feed no one. Now, let's dive into water. The 1,800 gallons of water per pound of beef number that activists love to throw out there, that includes rainwater that falls on grass. That is so important to remember, that if you see that number and they're like, it's scientifically proven, that number is including rainwater. Actual water consumption, drinking, and irrigation use is only about 3 to 5% of that number. Now, let's dive into efficiency gains. The thing is, over the past 30 plus years, actually like 50 years, since the 1970s, how many years has that been? Like 55 years, U.S. beef producers have cut land use, water use, and emissions per pound of beef by over 30%. The reality of it is, guys, is we are continuing to be better and better every single day. Today's beef is more sustainable than ever and consistently improving. Cattle turn sunlight and waste into a steak. And you know what? I think that that is a pretty good use of our resources and a really awesome way to just reframe it. That cattle are turning these amazing things that we cannot consume into a delicious steak that, if I do say so myself, just lights my soul on fire. Beef doesn't waste land, it makes land useful. And we don't need fewer cattle, we just need more understanding from our consumer population. And it starts with us. It starts with us as producers being an informed producer population that is then able to produce a informed consumer population. It is up to us to raise our voices, share about these things, lead with the facts, but also lead with your story on every single one of these. It is so important that we get out there and that we are informed and that we continue to stand up for agriculture. If raising cattle is inefficient, then explain how we feed millions using nothing but grass and byproducts. At the end of the day, guys, it is up to us to continue to share this story. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the CattleUSA Daily Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, do all of the things. And I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment. And I really, really want you to go out there and continue to either dive more into these two claims and the facts that I gave you, equip yourself with some more facts, or open up that notes app and you're going to jot down a few of the things that you learned today, some of those facts. That way, when you have these conversations, you are equipped and ready. Or I want you to go out there and start talking to consumers and sharing the beef story about your life as a producer, and then also about the beef facts. As always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on another episode. Have a good one, y'all.